and welcome to the Canon Fodder Podcast, the podcast where we go through different movie franchises, exploring lore, canon, and what makes them tick. We're going to rank all these movies together and determine ultimately what's worth your time. Is it even worth reviewing any of these movies? If it's your first time tuning in, please stick around. You might actually enjoy yourself. And please drop us a like, drop us a comment, and if you're really feeling generous, give us a subscription. You know you want to. This week we're reviewing the movie Inception, which came out in 2010. But before we deep dive into that, we like to start every episode by having a little catch up, as broskies do. We start this episode with the feature called What's Canon On? So Tom, what's been canon on with you?
So in my age of 30 odd, I'll not give the exact number because I don't want to be dated like that. My friends have moved away from the video gaming space. Now, I'm a quite big video gamer. I like video games. I like jumping on parties with people and, having a bit of crack. So Phil, I think we can both say that your gaming days are probably well and truly behind you.
You're right. My gaming days, I don't really game very much anymore. Unfortunately, Tom.
Unfortunately, we've had some fun memories. What I really miss is that social aspect of playing a game with some people and having one of them moments that can only happen at 3 a.m. on an Xbox party or a Discord call. So I thought, I'm going to make some friends. And I don't mean through the course of AI or computer. I'm not going to be like Joaquin Phoenix in the film Her, where I start shagging my phone. I meant I'm going to go online and find some strangers and try and spark some friendship. I put a post out on Reddit and I put the post out on this thing called YouTubers, which is for people who are quite low in the subscriber count, maybe new at the YouTuber, as it says in the tin, really. And I put a little post out. It said, I'm from the UK. I'd like to potentially do some recording with some fellow other recorders. And these are my details. Get in touch. And I was looking for a group of 3 people, well, 4 including me. And one person came to us from the UK and says, hi, I'm quite interested in this. I'd be more than happy to get involved. Check out my channel. Checked him out. He seemed kosher. He said he was a voice actor. I was like, fucking hell, this guy's sound. Oh, just to point out, I also put in my post, you need to speak clear English. I mean, I don't fucking speak clear English. I mumble quite a bit. I don't know who that was for. Then another person got in touch with us. This person was from America. And I was like, oof, how's this going to work? And he said, oh, I'm interested. I'll jump on board. I'll get involved as well. I was like, okay, no worries. The first guy that sent us, he had 300 subscribers, so that was in my range, I guess, of my skill. The next guy had 2,000 subscribers, and I was like, what the fuck? This guy's big news. I can start dropping in the podcast hints here, and his audience is gonna love that and tune straight in. So he came on, and I was like, fucking hell, USA, that's gonna be so difficult for time zones. So then the next person that came on, he was from the southern part of USA, and I was like, fucking hell, I did say I was from the UK in this post, why have I attracted people from the USA? I'm not no problem with that. It's just obviously timings and working full-time job, it's hard to fit that in. So I checked him out. He's also got 2,000 subscribers, and I'm like, I'm dealing with some pretty big fish here. Anyway, I set up a little group message on Reddit. So now we're meeting next Sunday, which will be the 13th, at 7 o'clock at night to obviously help with their time difference. And we're going to play this game called Repo, which I've not heard of. Supposedly it's big with the kids. And I'm really nervous because I can talk to anyone, but when you start putting us in a room with Americans, I normally start talking with an American accent because it's almost like a natural reflex of mine to try and make them feel comfortable. So I'm really scared that my first words are going to be howdy partner or something like that. But overall, I've had an actually positive interaction on Reddit where I've met potentially 3 lifelong friends who might replace you, Phil. I don't know yet. So yeah, that was my What's Canon On. It was just a wholesome story of meeting up with people and feeling quite intimidated by their audience size.
That's quite interesting. I do have mixed emotions about this. I kind of feel like I'm being cheated on a little bit. I can't lie.
Sorry, let's rewind 10 seconds where you were like, I'm not gaming anymore. What am I supposed to do with that?
I mean, would it be nice to be asked, Thomas?
You know this. You're fucking more than welcome. But the problem is, I put you in that chat. You're going to ruin that friendship for me straight away. You're going to sabotage it because I know what you like.
And it'd be like, Tom hates Americans.
Yeah,
Tom hates Americans.
So yeah, that's been my canon on. Apart from that, Phil, what's been canon on with you? What tales have you got for our lovely audience this week?
Well, I'll give you a little. I'll keep this story a bit more closer to home. I haven't been branching out to the world. My car at the moment's a bit off-road, and when I say a bit off-road, I'm not driving it because it's making funny noises, and I'm scared to drive it, frankly. So I want to start this with a question though, Tom, because like you know that I'm quite handy around the house. I do like a lot of DIY. Like I like to fix things for myself. If I can do it myself without calling in a professional, I absolutely will. But when it comes to cars, I absolutely know nothing. Like it's got 5 wheels and it drives. I don't have any interest in learning about cars, so I don't know if this means like I lose like man points. What do you think? Do you think I'm losing man points by not knowing anything about a car?
I think when it comes to man points, there's something that you need to be able to do, right? And I had a woman explain this to me at work. She was like, "Look, you either are a man that can do things, or you're a man that cleans." Now, she didn't explain by do things what that meant. I think it was very much like, you're quite handy in terms of DIY. I think that ticks you off. I think you're in the man bracket. I am not. I am a cleaner. I'm a male cleaner, and that ticks me off in the man bracket. And you know this? I've had that certified by a woman, so I'm going to stick with that. So I think you're fine. I think you're all right.
Yeah, that's good. That's reassuring. There's just something about a car that just never gave us that little, kink as a kid. Like I had Hot Wheels, but that was about as far as my interest in cars went.
And also, Hot Wheels quite hard to break. Like you're never fixing them.
That's true. Yeah, they just worked and they never made funny engine noises. But anyway, I'm trying to get some work done on my car. I've been ringing around garages, and I told you this little story off pod, but I'm going to finish it now, where I rang one garage and he was like, "Oh, like, can you drop it off in the morning?" And I'm going to have to go into work. So I was like, "Oh, like, I'll have to drop it in really early." And he said, "Oh, it's fine. Just park it up outside and then leave your keys with a corner shop on the street." And I was like, that just felt so wrong, man, because I'm like, this guy in the corner shop gonna just nick my car? Is this all a big sting operation? Like, I'm just ringing garages that I found on Google and through word of mouth. Like, I don't know. And he might say the flux capacitor's broken and I need to pay so much. I've got no fucking clue. Because I'm telling them different parts that people have said. And then one of the last guys I spoke to said my car didn't even have that bit. And I'm like, all right, I don't know, mate. But anyway, there's this garage. It's got a corner shop on the top of the road, and I was thinking, like, why do I feel so uneasy leaving my keys in this garage? And then I remembered, right, that one time we were driving around just playing Pokemon, and I parked up outside this this shop, and we're just chatting with the kids, playing Pokemon, and then all of us looked up, and then there was like all this commotion going on, and this Chava, this guy, he's like, he looked like a smackhead or a crackhead, Tom. He just nicked a bunch of chocolate, and he was like, had it all stuffed in his pants, and he was walking out the shop. And then the owner of the shop was attacking him with a golf club in the street. And all of us were just sat there like, what's going on? And the kids were like, what's happening? Is he playing golf? And I'm like, no, darling, he's stealing stuff. And then like I was like getting out of the car, being like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to step in and like help a bit," because I felt bad for the guy. But then I was like, "Well, this Raji's there," he was already halfway down the street in a way, and I was like, "I don't want to like get attention to me kids."
Yeah.
But like, what an experience that was. And we were just sat there, and I was like, "Well, kids, welcome to this town," because they'd never seen a robin before. And they'd never seen a guy trying to attack another guy with a golf club. So stay tuned, because I might go in there, drop my keys off, and then come back like a day later to pick up my car and be like, "All right, mate, you got my keys?" And then I might just get attacked by a golf club. I don't know. Well, I have to see what happens with this one. But anyway, yeah, that's my little side story.
No, fair. I do want an update on this story, if that's all right. I'd like you to come back to us after you've not got a car because it's been sold on a fucking auction. I'd like to hear the tail end of that story. Thank you for that.
So, Tom, we talked about this at the start. We're gonna look at the movie Inception from 2010. Do you have a bit of background on this movie for us and our loyal listeners?
Always. So I have the IMDb website up now. Just to clarify with this one, this is our one-off film. So these are our palate cleansers for when we have finished a franchise. We then do a one-off to reset our expectations, reset our sort of tempo, I guess, to then explore a film that has no franchise in it, and then we'll go back to a franchise. So, as Phil said, we're doing Inception, so I'm going to read out that synopsis now. A thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream-sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO, but his tragic past may doom the project and his team to disaster. What's your thoughts?
I feel like it's quite a complex movie, and I think that kind of summed it up pretty good.
I was thinking the same, yeah. So I looked at this like before the pod, and I thought, fucking hell, like whoever's done this done a banging job of summing that in a couple of lines, because that's all these all ever are. It's something that is easy to read. Like if I'd wrote that, it'd have been a page and a half. Like this happens and this happens, and actually this happens.
If I'd wrote it, Tom, sorry, I was just going to say my synopsis would be, I don't have a fucking clue what's happening. I think would be my description.
One thing that isn't mentioned in this, and I think it's probably a key element, is doesn't mention it's a heist movie. I'd call this a typical heist movie.
Typical is an interesting word for this movie, but yeah, heist movie for sure.
Tropey heist movie, sorry. I think that's the word I was really wanting to use, but I didn't, so fucking sorry. This is why I need new friends. So what we'll do is, as we always do with these films, is we look a bit at the pedigree of the film to see who's behind it, who's in it, did it win the awards, things like that. So this film came out in 2010, which 2010 don't really remember being a big year for movies. I normally think of 2008 as being the big year for movies because that was the Iron Man versus Dark Knight kind of era. Dark Knight done by the same director who was
Christopher Nolen.
Christopher Nolen, yeah. So this is one of his films. Nolan, he was quite big at the time, I guess, because he'd done The Dark Knight, and that was renowned for being like an amazing piece of cinema. I know you're not a fan, which will probably get us hate in the comments. Thanks for that. But any engagement is engagement. Do you think it won the awards?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure? What do you think it won the awards on?
Oh, I don't know what the term would be, but probably like effects, special effects maybe, or something like that. Cinematography.
So it won fucking Best Achievement in Cinematography, so you spot on there.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
It also won Best Achievement in Sound Mixing, which I've got a fucking problem with, by the way.
Right.
And it won another one in Sound Editing, which I guess...
They just give that one away.
Sound... why isn't it just sound?
Yeah.
Audio. Best in audio, you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
Oh, and it won an Oscar for Best Achievement in Visual Effects.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, like special effects, visual effects, cinematography, yeah.
Decent things. It was nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't win. How long is the film? Do you know?
2 hours 28, I think, isn't it?
Right, it is 2028. Do you know why?
I remember seeing that. No, I don't know why though.
Okay, so there's a reason for it. So you know the song they play on the headphones when they're waking them up? That song is 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Very nice.
Cast. Decent cast.
Fucking, they got the checkbook out for this cast, didn't they?
Right, so you say that, but how many of these cast members are like still big now? You know, this is 2010.
I mean,
Joseph Gordon. Right, I'll go through them. Yeah. So Leo.
Yeah.
Banging actor, like fucking incredible actor. In this, he's okay. He's very Catch Me If You Can, Shutter Islandy in this. Like he's almost playing other characters he's already played. It's not anything like The Revenant or anything. You know, we're not changing Leo's range. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's just Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like he's the same in this as he is in every other film.
Yeah, he plays Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
So then we've got Elliot Page, who at the time was referred to as Ellen Page. For the rest of the podcast, we call him Elliot Page. Again, kind of just there. I mean, it's a step up above X-Men, but does Elliot really bring anything to the group? I guess he's probably a challenge for Leo.
Mm.
Ken Watanabe. Now, I love this guy. Like, he's the Godzilla guy who says, let them fight. Like, he's really, really good. But he just plays typical Asian man who's evil.
Yeah. Or questionable.
Questionable Asian man. He would have been a good fit for the Temple of Doom. You know the bit where Indiana Jones getting poisoned at the start? He would have been the guy across the fucking table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tom Hardy. Now, Tom Hardy's been fucking ruined for me, right? The first scene we saw him, I turned to my partner and went, Eddie! Like, that's all I think of when I see him now. I just think of Venom. I think he would have been a much bigger actor if he hadn't done Venom.
I feel like is Tom Hardy like not getting towards the end of his career now?
I think so. Yeah,
I think
so.
like no disrespect to him. I like Tom Hardy. I think he's great, but like it feels like has his heyday been and gone? I don't know. Like we'll see where that goes. But
I think so. Yeah. So he's done Venom. What else has he done recently? He did a couple of TV series. He was in Peaky Blinders with Cillian. He was in a TV show called Taboo. Nothing else I can really think of. Like, I think this was one of his early movies where I was like, oh, he's pretty good at him. And to be honest, credit to him, he is good in this. I do find him quite charming. I find him like the British wanker, which is good. So then, who do you think's next on the billing?
I don't know. It's gonna be one of the crew assembled.
So you've only got
There's only
crew member left.
Oh, let's see. It's the other ethnic minority that will get pulled in, isn't it?
It's not Cillian yet. No, it's Dilip Ryo who plays.
No, I'm saying him. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, for me, I would have thought Cillian would have been higher up, but this is probably before his big break in Oppenheimer and stuff like that. So yeah, we get Dilip, which he hasn't got much screen time for him to be this high up the casting. Cillian Murphy's in next. Then we got Tom Brenner, who is Browning, you know, the guy that Tom Hardy's impersonating.
Yep.
Then we've got Marion Cotillard, who's playing Maul, or as I've spelt it like Darth Maul in all my notes. Then we've got fucking Michael Caine, and Michael Caine's in this film for 3 minutes.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're criticising them for the screen time, wait till you get a Michael Caine.
I know. So, it's a solid cast, but I just feel like it's bloated to make it seem better than it is. It's Avengers before Avengers.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a lot of, like, actors in there that probably have chemistry as well, because they've been in, like, you mentioned Peaky Blinders, with Killian. There's also, like, The Revenant. There's also the Dark Knight franchise with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So, like, there's a lot of links between them, isn't there? So maybe this was just, like, a friends movie where they're always just like, yeah, we all know each other. Let's just do the biggest cinematography masterpiece we can.
Also want to point out that this is ranked number 14 in IMDb's top 250 films. How do you feel about that bit of knowledge?
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. In fact, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was higher, to be honest with you.
Okay. Anything you want to talk about with the synopsis or the actual build of the film?
No, I think I'll just set expectations that when we go through these movies, we're on the podcast, that I feel like we'll love to deep dive into things, and we'll love to come up with our own canons with things, and what we call headcanon. Like, this is what I think, because we tend not to dive into, like, the books, or do any extra reading. We're just purely looking at it from, like, if you're going to sit down and enjoy a movie without having to worry too much about things and get into it, like, is it worth your time? But with this movie, I do feel like we're going to spend or at least me, I'm going to spend most of my time being like, now what's happening, Tom? And I hope you've got answers for me, because I did spend a lot of my time thinking, what is actually going on now? Like, I've got a lot of unanswered questions, but I enjoyed myself. But yeah, I hope you're the man with the answers, because I didn't get a lot of answers when I was watching this one.
Okay, how many times have you seen the film?
Two times, I think. This is my second time watching it.
Okay, I think I've seen it 4 now. So no, I hope I can answer some of your questions. I'd like to be able to, but we'll see. Right, how does that film open?
So it opens with Leo washing up on a beach. He's kind of kidnapped by a group of people. It's full of mystery. It's full of suspense, full of intrigue. And I think that it's good, though, because that sets the absolute tone for the whole movie.
Yeah. No, I agree. Film starts as it means to go on with questions. How much of that is answered, we'll find out. And then so there's two gentlemen, Leo and another man, having a conversation. The man asks him, "Are you here to kill me?" And then we get almost a cut in of audio from another time where Leo's talking to another gentleman who is Saito, and he's talking to him about dream security, I believe.
Yeah. When you talk about the first gentleman, that's Saito, though, right? Like, that's who we.
I was gonna save that for like, you know.
Well,
we don't know that yet, but yes, it is Saito.
I don't think I need to, because I'll be honest with you. When I watched it, like, I want to, like, I've wrote a note down. I think this is why I mentioned it, not to ruin your thunder, steal your thunder, but I want to say one good thing about it, because like when we start with any opening of any movie, like for me, this is the thing that's going to either make or break it for us, because it's going to either switch me on to paying attention, or I'm going to be like, oh my god, this looks shit, and then I'll have to force myself to enjoy it a little bit, like we've talked about it on like 28 Days Later, where the opening of the movie felt like a different movie to the rest of it. Whereas in this one, like, it's the same guy. Like, well, sorry, I could tell it was the same guy, but he was prosthetic up to look old.
Yeah.
And I've seen it before, and I've got a couple of examples I can think of off the top of my head where they old up somebody, but they do it really bad. And for me, that's one of the things where I'm like, that can not ruin the whole movie, but like it pulls us out of it, because I'm like, fucking hell, I can't get over how shit the makeup looks, like how they're trying to make somebody.
Do you think he looked awful? Did you?
No, I thought he looked good.
Oh right, yeah. I thought that's where you were going. I thought you were going to say like, this guy looked shit. I was out. I'm out of this film.
It's because like when I looked at him, I hadn't looked at the posters, IMDb, and obviously I watched it before, but like I recognised him, but I was like, where do I know you from? Like, I don't know many old Asian actors. Like, who are you? And then it cut to the scene, and I could see him, and I was like, oh, fuck me. That was just really good prosthetics. I could tell. I could make that connection straight away. But obviously, not being funny, the budget on this movie is probably fucking tens of millions or whatever. So I'd expect that of this type of thing. But I've also seen movies where the budget has been just as high, and the prosthetics for fake looking old have been shit, and the person's looked really bad. One of them that springs to mind is Prometheus, like the guy in Prometheus with the old Wayland when they olded him up. I thought he looked really, really bad, and it was kind of hard to see past that. And I'm there to enjoy the movie, and I just can't see blatantly shit prosthetics, like the paint liver spots on your face, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I thought they did it really, really well. But yeah, sorry, spoilers,
No, that's fair. It is him. The film was budgeted at 160 mil, if that helps.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
So we are introduced to Mr. Cobb. Mr. Cobb is played by Leonardo DiCaprio. What are your initial impressions of Mr. Cobb?
I think he's pretty much a typical Leo character, isn't he, for a lot of his movies? Mm-hmm. Like, he's suave.
He's suave. He's dressed like a con man, I've put.
Yeah.
He looks like... Yeah.
Feels conny, yeah.
Yeah, like, if you was selling as a car, I'd be like, no, mate, like, not from you. Like, pick someone in the back. So, yeah, like I said, he's explaining dream security to Saito, saying, like, you need to protect your secrets in your head and stuff like that. And then Saito walks out, and then it's revealed we're in a fucking dream. Like, the film pulls no punches. Like, we're in a dream straight away. And it's like, oh shit. Like, we'll then see they're in a building where there's like a riot going on outside, and like there's a guy, like the man in the chair almost, like keeping an eye on everyone who's asleep. There's a lot of quick movements in this film. Like, I found it really pacey. I think it's not until the third act where I'm like, oh, it slows down a little, like it takes its foot off the gas.
Yeah, I think I've thought a similar thing. Like, within probably about 3 or 4 minutes, we've had 3 or 4 different sort of timelines. We've had
locations,
locations, yeah, exactly. But it's obviously disjointed, because that's the whole point in the movie, like to throw you off and give you different angles and perspectives on things. But I thought that like the pacing of it and the way they edited it together, it didn't confuse us too much. I was following along with it, like I understood where I was. And that, again, that's the opening of your movie. Like, you want to set a tone, especially for this movie, because of how much it's going to fucking mess with your mind. But also, like, you can't just mess with somebody's mind too much, because then they're just going to be totally disinterested, disengaged, and not get anything out of the movie. But I thought, yeah, even though I had 3 or 4 different locations, it was put together quite well. Like, I was following along quite well as an audience.
So then it's revealed that Cobb and Arthur, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, are doing a con. They're working to take something from Saito's brain safe. Arthur spots Maul and says, "Are you going to handle that?" And Leo goes, and there's a bit of a conversation. It's almost flirtatious. It's a bit like Catwoman and Batman, just to kind of give perspective. There's something there, but it's almost like tainted. And then he finds the safe. So Leo finds the safe, the brain safe. He gets the documents, and then fucking light switch on. Here we are. We've been caught. And it turns out Darth Maul has betrayed him. Shock her. She shoots Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the leg, and he can feel it. So we're starting to build rules of this universe of you can be shot, and if you're the dreamer, like, you can feel pain because they're inside. So they're inside Joseph Gordon-Levitt's dream that has been built by the guy in the chair, and everyone else is a projection. But we can kill projections, but we're not killing brain cells. That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole shared consciousness, like, this is where I was like, okay, so you're setting your rules up straight away. You're telling me that these people can all be in the same dream through that fucking magic box machine that they've all got with that, like, what looks like a goopy button. Like, it did look like something I really wanted to push. That's fine. You've told us from the off. I don't have to, like, think too hard on it.
Yeah. Interesting, though, that you mentioned about the, like, getting shot but not dying, because I was a little bit surprised by that. I'm probably on my first watch, and like just on the reminder of it that like they can die, but it's not a problem. Like if he dies, there's no issue, because he even says that. Leo says like, "Can't kill him. Kill him. Go ahead. Like it's fine." And that kind of takes away a little bit of drama, doesn't it? Like for you as an audience, you're like, "Oh, like well, the guy. If you get shot, it don't matter. Who cares?"
But does that not get paid off later?
Well, yes. What did you think of the of Leo abseiling down the side of the building bit? Because he ties a rope to the chair, yeah.
You know what it is? I'd used this way, and I had no fucking idea what this meant in my
That's
notes.
what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it would be.
So he clearly doesn't trust this woman, and then fucking ties her to a chair. Doesn't tie her to a chair. Ties the thing to the chair, use her as weight, and is expecting her to like do him a favor, which we find out later. Like she is like venomous towards him. She fucking hates him.
Yeah, that was what world was what world, but what dream was that ever going to be a successful plan? Like I didn't understand.
No, it was.
He was like, sit in this chair, please. Thank you. Don't move. And then he jumped, and then he was almost annoyed that she moved. Like, I told her not to move. Like, yeah, you're right, Leo. She should have not moved, shouldn't she? Like,
yeah, it's the relationship he's got with her is very complicated, and that feeds in later on, where we find out more about that relationship. And I think what it does is it sets him off as being unstable, which he is. Like throughout the entire movie, he's fucking on a rabbit hole. He's constantly like going further and further down this pit of despair and guilt, and it's only like if he can have a catharsis at the end. So yeah, just to wrap up then. So Leo gets the secrets. Does he get them all? Because he says he failed, didn't he?
I mean, yeah. If I'm not a dream invader, right? Like, I'm sure Leo, Mr. Cobb, very skilled at what he does. But if my plan was to break into someone's dream, then read all of the secrets and then remember them all, I think we'd be fucked. Because unless that secret was like the letter B, or something on that bit of paper, and it was all like pages and pages of confidential information, and like I'm sure some of it you can remember, but like the ins and outs of it, like I wouldn't be. And it's not like you can take a photo or bring it back with you, like unless you got a photographic memory.
Yeah, even if it said like the lottery numbers on it, I'd be like, I'll remember 2 numbers, and that's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fucked. So anyway, we do something called the kick, which is to wake someone up, and it uses a lot of logic in the film to explain away a lot of the fantasy. If you ever have a dream that you're falling, or you have the feeling of falling, I'll either like a nervous twitch where I'll fucking like jump awake. It kind of plays on that logic, so it applies that in the film because it's common knowledge, you know. It's instinctual knowledge. It's quite good.
Yeah. So we can relate to that as the audience, can't we?
100%. Like we're
pull
not completely...
us in a bit.
Yeah, it gives us a connection with the film. We're not distant to the goings-ons.
Wait, I sleep?
Yeah.
I sleep too.
Right, so then everyone wakes up, they're on a fucking train. And this is what we assume is real world.
Yeah.
They're all freaking out, saying we're failed, we're fucked up. We need to get out of here, we need to go separate ways. Blah, 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 blah. Whilst on the run, they go to a hotel. They say, right, we're leaving. We're going to fucking go here. They get to the helicopter that is going to take them away. And who's there? Saito. And he has...
the other guy. I don't know his name.
He's called Nash.
Nash.
The only reason I know that is because of IMDb. I saw his face when we were doing Synopsis before, and I was like, who the fuck's Nash? And now I've just remembered it was the architect. So yeah, talk us through kind of this part of the film.
Well, this was the first bit where I was like, I'm confused now. And I was already a little borderline confused. But, so, they're obviously trying to infiltrate Saito and get his information out of him. That's what they'd been hired to do.
Yep.
That group of them. Then Saito realised he was in a dream and was fighting back. And then when he woke up, he then sought out these people, and Nash had grassed them up. Nash had sold them out to protect himself. And at this point, I was like trying to understand, because they still got in the helicopter with Saito, and they seemed to have quite a chill, chummy conversation. And I was like, "What? Are you actually friends? Like, was it like a double bluff of like, you know, I'm gonna hire you to do this job, and you've got your job is to like, you know, infiltrate me. Is that the job? Or am I right in saying that someone else hired them that fucked it up, and then Saito is going to be like, but I've seen you've got some skills, I've got a job for you? Because it seemed to be too much of a chummy pally conversation they were having on the helicopter.
So the way I read it is they were hired by a company called Cobalt Engineering, which is a competitor of Saito's. And I think it was one of those things of a rock and a hard place where it was, we've got people coming forward, probably in this hotel now, or we can take a chance with this guy who's their competitor and see what he's got to offer, because he's clearly got something he wants to give with.
Right.
So Saito offers them a proposition, and he asks them about Inception. And I was like, fucking hell, that's the name of the film. Better pay attention. Yeah. So Phill, what's Inception?
Inception, Tom, is planting an idea into somebody's mind without them realizing it, and them using the dream system, and then them thinking that's their own idea and manipulating them in that sense.
That's what it boils down to. They talk about planting an idea, so just planting ideas Inception, but a successful Inception, they explain, needs to be almost an organic idea, so it's something small that grows into something more obtainable for the subject. To this point, I had to turn subtitles on. How did you find the audio of this film?
Right. I didn't know if it was just me and the stream I was watching it on, which was perfectly legal, but I thought that the sound was overshadowed the dialogue.
100%.
Like all of the effects. Yeah, all of the audio.
This is one of the criticism that Nolan gets awful lot, that his sound mixing is just not very good, because you basically can't hear the characters because they've got such fucking heavy scores in the background, and it's like, what the fuck, like, just turn the people up or put fucking subtitles in. But yeah,
you tell it, Tom. You tell them.
No, it's just annoying because for a film it's complicated. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to follow a plot, and it's like all I can hear is ba 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 ba, and it's like oh, Inception is what this is. Ba 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 ba. It's like, fuck me!
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to hear this guy.
I thought I struggled with names as well because they throw names at you, and like you said, it's hard to differentiate in the audio. And I'm like, what name did he just say? Like I don't know. I got no idea what's going on, and that's not really supportive when it's such, like you said, it's such a complex idea. It's not just a typical heist movie. It's not just a typical action movie. Like you've got to get your head around a couple of concepts if you want to enjoy it fully. So it doesn't do you any favors if you can't hear what the fuck people are saying.
No, absolutely not. So we've not really touched upon Arthur. What were your thoughts on Arthur?
I suppose I've got nothing to say because he's an absolute little sidekick and he doesn't really do much, does he? I think he's just sort of there, pottering around.
Interesting. Okay, so I found Arthur to be the voice of reason at this point. Like, I've even wrote one of his lines down where like Saito offers him the job and he instantly says like, we should walk away from this. So he's like the kind of guy on your shoulder saying like, don't fucking do it. Like, it's not worth it. We'll find another way. So he's a voice of reason, which I think was quite tropey. But yeah, I agree with you. He's quite bland at this point. He's quite like middle of the road.
Yeah, but I suppose if he is the voice of reason, he should be, shouldn't he? He should
100%,
be.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got our job. What twists Cobb's arm? Because Cobb's out, but why is he in?
Is it the promise of getting his access back to those faceless kids? I think is if I had to summarize it.
So he says, "How would you like to go home?" And then Cobb says, "No one can fix that," and he goes, "I can." So there's a couple of lines mentioned where like they say Inception's impossible, like it can't be done. And there's a lot of that in this film of that can't be done. I'm like, in a world where we are fucking making our own dream levels and designing mazes and shit, and you're like, that can't be done in a fictional space. What are you talking about? Like, stop trying to make us think it can't be done when I know it can.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get, because if we're in a fantasy world where we literally are, where we can do anything and achieve anything, and it's like you're all looking for the bit of drama in it, and the drama comes from he wants to go back home. He's got some dark past, and these tasks we'll have to do are impossible. Whereas we're in Fantasyland where we can do anything. So yeah, I think it has to throw those things in there. Otherwise, we're just like watching people do some mad ass shit for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's very true. So then Saito says to him, "Assemble a team," and I was like, "Fucking you, son of a bitch, we're in. Like, this is it. We're gonna create a heist team. Can't wait." And I love a heist movie. Like, it's my favorite kind of film. So I was very much into this film, which is probably why I've seen it 4 times. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, we're fucking going. We're going to make a heist. We're going to pull off a job. It's going to be good. One last job for the boys. Like, I'm all about it. Cool. So then where do we go?
We're trying to get Michael Caine.
We're going to see Michael Caine. We go to Paris. So, key point, we go to Paris. Hold on to that for later.
Okay.
And then we find out Cobb's first name. Did you catch it?
No, I didn't.
It's Dom. Dom Cobb.
Dom Cobb. Wow.
Dom Cobb, yeah.
Doesn't work, does it? Sounds weird.
If he was called Corn, that'd have been so much better.
Yeah.
So then he explains it's one last job for him, doesn't he? He says like, this is my last job and I can go home. And what does he want from Michael Caine?
He wants somebody who's as good as him. I think that's what he says.
Yeah. So then enter Ariane. I don't know how to say this name.
The female character, because that's all I have, isn't it? That's all pretty much.
So
apart from the dream chick, there's no other females in this movie really.
That's true. Apart from Maul.
So she's a dream chick, Tom. I
thought you were talking about the dream chick who Tom Hardy plays.
Oh no, that doesn't count as a character.
That doesn't count as a character. Okay.
That was 5 seconds. Does not count.
So yeah, we're introduced to Elliot Page, and Leo gives Elliot a test. And do you know what the test was?
It was to design a maze in 2 minutes that can be solved in 1 minute.
That's true.
That stuck with me.
All these fucking mazes that was being drawn, I was like, I'm fucked here. Doesn't matter. Like if she took if the character took 30 seconds to do it, I'm not solving that in a minute. Like, it's just not happening. So, would have passed any test that I had.
Interesting test, all right. And then, like, the third version of the maze, he was like, yes, you're in. Like, okay. Calm down,
Yeah,
yo.
so
Like,
the maze that is drawn is like a famous maze. It's like a real thing.
yeah,
Which I kind of thought was cheating. Because you've not designed the maze, you've then copied a maze.
that's an Easter egg, though, right? Surely.
Is it an Easter egg to what? Mazes?
The mazes, yeah.
And like...
In the sense that at the start of the podcast where you said the movie's 2.28 minutes.
I guess. Easter egg to mazes. Didn't think I'd ever say that in my life.
Yeah.
So then we're at a coffee shop. We're talking about dreams. And it's fucking revealed we're in a dream. And
Yep.
then what happens?
The explodiness. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so the dream collapses on itself because
Yeah.
it becomes self-aware you're in a dream. And it's almost that thing that, again, as audience, you could probably relate to, that when you realize you're in a dream, you pretty much wake up. The dream closes on itself.
Yeah.
What did you think of these special effects?
I thought they were okay. Yeah. There was one bit that I didn't go back and rewatch it, but I felt like Leo's face was maybe CGI'd in at one point, and it looked too big, and it also looked like he looked like he was looking directly at the camera when it was like a wide shot, and it was all the street exploding, and obviously he wasn't really sat there. And yeah, it did look a bit dodgy, like, but I didn't bother going back and rewinding it. I just was like, no, let's just look at the exploding street.
So, do you think the exploding street was CGI? Like, I think there was a lot of practical stuff in there, right?
Yeah, no, I think, but him being CGI'd into it
Right,
around
yeah,
the
so
exploding stuff.
he was like added in as an extra green screeny thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're in a dream, so he's training her basically. This is your training montage of, I need you to start building levels, and I need you to get to grips with being in a dream and how that works. They establish that in a dream, if you're asleep for 5 minutes, that equates to an hour of dream time. Which, again, fucking, I've had dreams where I've been like, in years, and I'm like, waking up, and I'm like, oh my god, it's only been like a couple of hours, like, I'm still young. Like, it's class. Good little tidbit. I like it. So then, during this training, we understand what a projection is. So what's a projection?
a projection is like a person, but it's a subconscious of you, and it's there to. Well, if it realizes what's going on, it's going to kill the person who's who's invading your dream.
Yeah, so he describes them as white blood cells attacking an infection. So the plan is that Elliot Page's character is going to design the dream, but the person whose dream they're going into will fill the bits, like the detail, with their subconscious and their projections. So it's a two-man job to create this environment, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then Elliot Page says about subconscious turning on them. And then for day one of training in dream space, I thought it was quite advanced training. Like, was there no pamphlet or like e-learning chat that they had to start with first to ease them in? Did they not have to get like security passes for the dream world? It just seemed very sudden that, by the way, you're building like complex places that look like Paris. What's happening?
Yeah, where does the building come into play? Because I'm like, do you have to like imagine like the structural part of it? Like, I can imagine a building, but the plumbing, I don't know. Like, is that what? How does that work? It's really good though, like the way they do it and the way they talk about different parts of it. Like, it's quite engaging.
Yeah.
And they give you the endless staircase and things that we've kind of seen before.
Paradox,
Like,
yeah.
So I did enjoy that bit. Like, they do acknowledge it though. They do say, like, you know, I think Leo says like she's like taken to it the fastest I've ever seen anybody take to it. So it's not like we're in there, but like it's just to progress the plot along. Obviously, that Elliot Page's character happens to be that fucking good at doing this. We've all wanted, well, at least I have. I've wanted to like control the dream before. So like, I think the character seems to like be buzzing with it, and I think the kind of that plays in with their kind of character type as well. But like, they get that rush from it, and once to work out how to do it, it's too exciting to not keep wanting to do it and keep wanting to create more things and crazier ass things.
So we're introduced to totems as well. Arthur explains a totem. So what's a totem?
Totem is a small object that grounds you to reality.
Yeah, so it's something you know the size, shape, and weight of. What does Arthur say you're not supposed to do with your totem?
Let anybody else touch it.
Alright, so the fucking Cobbs has been around the fucking world. Like, it's not even his totem?
It's not even his totem. Yes, that ticked a big box in my mind of there's something else fishy going on here, because obviously it's got its own little lore behind it and reason and why, but ultimately, like, if this is supposed to be your personal object that you know the ins and outs of, I think, isn't that the reason for that though, is because that you can never tell, well, you potentially can't tell if you're in reality or not. So if you don't let anybody touch it when you're in reality, in the real world, then nobody can replicate it exactly the same way.
Yeah, no one can design it in the dream space and then be like, here's your totem, by the way. I get it.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's finish off Act 1, going through the rest of the crew we meet. So we meet Tom Hardy's character. Do you know his name?
No, I don't.
Ames. E-A-M-E-S. Ames. He is the duplicator. He's the guy who becomes somebody else.
Yeah, and I've wrote this a few times. Like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, I need answers, because it's just like given to you and you just have to accept it. But so I'm like,
this is one of the problems with the film, that he can do it because he's got himself in a point where he can control his the perception of him in the dream space. Like, he's so good at controlling the dream space that he can be anyone, but he has to study them. He has to know their ins and outs, and then he can be a doppelganger of that person.
Yeah.
But that opens up a kind of questions later on, because if he can do that, like, we should be doing other things in this dream space to make these heists a lot better, a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And I get it, the heist's been done for maximum cinematography effect, which is fine. So they're talking, he's talking about Inception, and Tom Hardy goes, oh yeah, you can do Inception, and then straight away Cobb's on this. He's like, interesting, okay. And then and Eames has got the idea of, you just need to start small enough, you need to make it really small, and then that will grow naturally, and that subject will think it's their own idea. And then what happens?
Well, we'll get a chase scene where Dom Cobb is we're in reality right now, or at least we think and he's getting tailed by people who are after him. And the chase scene was actually good, but it was very low sort of budget and low sort of effects.
It seemed pointless.
You know what I like though? Maybe it's Tom, right? So maybe this is just something I thought about just right now, but it seems pointless, but it's because it's so. He's not used to being in reality in the real world. So like when he's doing the chase scene, when he's trying to get away, he pretty much keeps fucking up at every turn.
Oh, that's true.
I didn't think about that until just now. Light bulb. So he's in a cafe and he's like, no, I just want a coffee. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of my cafe.
So
like, get out of my...
That bit, I wrote a boo at you, because he just kept repeating, one coffee. He just kept repeating it. And the guy's like, fuck off, no. Yeah. And I couldn't get out of my head that you were just going, Abu, it's you.
Yeah. But yeah, like, he's used to being able to manipulate things and change reality and things like, but he's fucking up because he hasn't got that skill in the real world. He's not used to the real world as much as he is to dream world. And I also thought that there's one bit where he gets to a corridor and he has to like squeeze through the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that bit was another bit where I was like, right, is that supposed to be the point where now we're in dream world, because he's kind of almost squeezed himself through reality and he's kind of in a dream world, and it's sort of represented that like literally in front of you as an audience. It's also really weird to see an alley that small, but obviously they do exist.
There's also, I don't know if you picked it up before you finish like that bit, but one of the COBOL engineering guys grabs him and says, not dreaming now, are you? And I was like,
yeah, I heard that.
Oh, what's happening?
Exactly. Yeah, I heard that too as well. But I'm still like, at this point in the movie, I'm still like on edge, being like, I'm not fully convinced what I'm looking at is real. And even to the point where when it had quietened down a bit and characters were sitting and having coffees and talking, chatting, like I was kind of half looking in the background to be like, can I see something that gives the game away a bit? Something that's like revealing that this is actually like, that's a little clue that like it's not real. Not that I'm saying like I'm gonna see fucking reality like going upside down or whatever, but like just little things like that your brain would get wrong, like in a dream, that me as an audience I would pick up on that and realize like, oh no, that's not real. Like my own totem in a sort of way, I guess. What did you think? Did you not like chase scene?
To be honest, I was very much like, oh, this could have been cut. But now that you've said what you've said about fucking up, making mistakes, and like almost getting shot, I'm like, oh, actually, no, it adds a bit of weight to the film of, yeah, this guy's not shit outside the dream space. Because for me, and I know you said like, oh, I'm not sure if this is still dream space or if we're out of it. I thought that whole scene was not dream space, but I think it was like him going down that shit alleyway because he didn't know the maze, so he fucked up. Like, that's him fucking up again, going down a stupid route. And then he only gets out of it through fortune and luck with Saito picking him up.
Yep.
Because he's tailing him, isn't he? He's keeping an eye on him, make sure he's not fucking being a knobhead.
Yeah. It's eloquently put, Tom. That's exactly what he's doing.
Thanks, man. So while this is all happening, we're jumping between Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Elliot Page, where he talks about projections, and this is where he explains about projections, and that we create a maze to hide from projections, because the more complicated the maze, it's harder for the subconscious to work it out, because it's not the person creating the maze working out, it's the dreamer. So that's why you have a two-person job, because you've got someone you put in this maze and their subconscious needs to figure it out so they can then rat out the actual dreamer. It's quite a clever two-man system. And then we find out Maul is dead, and that what we're seeing is not an actual person, it is the projection of Maul.
She's part of Cobb's subconscious.
Yep.
Like, just so ingrained in. And she's so ingrained in that she can manifest or come out. But yeah, like for me, it was obvious that she was just like a figment of imagination.
Alright, so then we meet our final heistie, Yusuf. And what is Yusuf?
He's a medicine man. He makes the sedatives to keep people under.
Yeah, he's a druggie, isn't he? So there's a standard like dream heist can go 2 levels, and then his drugs will let them go to a 3rd level, so they can do a dream within a dream within a dream. So Cobb asks for a little test of it, doesn't he? He says, "Oh, gives a little taster," and he says, "We'll go to the floor, we'll check it out." And what do we see on the floor?
You've got a bunch of old men, and they're all hooked up, enjoying the fucking dream worlds because they're addicted to it.
So I think he says that they come down here and they sleep for like, they're in dream state for 40 hours a day. Get a fucking job. What we're doing. If these are that fucking good at creating stuff, like, go be an architect. What the fuck's happening here?
Like, you don't know what their worlds are like. They could be shit.
Yeah, true.
They're dreaming in black and white, Tom. They're fucking useless.
Like, alright, so that's Act 1. Anything else you want to go through that you think we've missed from Act 1?
I think I'll just wrap up Act 1 with how Cobb tests the shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes out. I can't remember. Does he see anything? Do we see what he sees, or do we just see flashes of?
He dreams. I think we see flashes of his kids and the guy giving him the envelope to say, "You've got to go. It's now."
Oh yeah. It is.
That's the flash we get.
Yeah.
And because he says he doesn't dream anymore, doesn't he? And then this drug actually induces dreams for him.
Yeah. So he goes in, and then it's obviously quite an emotive dream for him, emotive experience. And then he comes out, and he goes in the bathroom. Yeah. You remember this scene?
Yeah, he washes himself with water.
Spins his totem.
Yep.
How does that finish?
It falls, and he drops it. He doesn't spin it. He just pulls it out of his pocket and it drops. Or does he actually spin it?
He does spin it, but it flies off the desk because he's like quite like panicked and still trying to work out what's real because he's had that fucked up experience. So for me, this is the bit where I've been waiting for this, where I'm like, at that point now, definitively, I'm thinking like that's my proof that it's not real. Nothing's real. Because if it was real, I would have got a conclusion to that totem, which we'll never get again.
It's true. We never do get the totem concluded. But if that's not his totem, then what does it matter?
That's not his totem. That doesn't matter. Yeah, but like I say, I was waiting for the point where I'm like, it's a dream. It's definitely a dream. And then I'm like, it won't even show us a spinning totem, and he's just went under this fucking drug, and like maybe he never gets out of that drug.
True. You know, maybe he fucking dies. You're right.
And this could have been from the start of the movie. We know this, that everything you see is not real. Like the whole point of it is that's what's going on.
I guess this is, if we were gonna have that argument of what's real, what's not, this would be the point in the movie where I'd be like, yeah, you can make an argument from here that the rest of the movie is in his head. It doesn't happen. All right. So, anything else you want to talk about Act 1?
No. Let's get into Act 2. Yep.
So, we're quite far into the film. Or it feels far. It's moving at a fucking train pace. Trains come into it later. We meet Cillian Murphy, who is Mr. Fisher. What's your thoughts on Cillian?
I've got absolutely no investment in that character whatsoever. I think I might be a bit charactered out. Like, I've got so many characters thrown at me with so many different personalities and traits. And Cillian's supposed to be the target, but he's just been like, up until this point, he's just been like pictures on a board, and I don't really have any background for him other than the one to incept him. So I don't give a shit about him, if I'm being honest, in this point in the movie.
Yeah, so you didn't feel sorry for him? I felt quite sorry for him.
Not really. It's hard to feel sorry for a rich boy, as much as he has a shit father-son relationship. He's definitely a bit of a victim, for sure.
So the idea is that his dad's dying, yeah?
Yeah.
And with his dad dying, the company is likely to be signed over to him. And Saito wants to get him to sell off the company or dissolve the company, because if Fisher goes ahead with the company, it will become a superpower that he can't compete with, which for some reason Saito kind of makes it seem like it's a big deal for everyone, when actually just feels like it's a big deal for him.
Yeah.
So they're going to do this by attacking the father-son relationship. There is a second mark as well, which is Robert's dad's right-hand man, called Browning. And that is who Eames will be in level 1 of Dream State. So he will be level 1 version of Browning. He will tell Fisher about how he needs to build something for himself. And then Fisher's own subconscious will fill that character in level 2. And it'll almost be feeding the idea to himself. Quite clever.
Yeah. It is quite clever.
Oh, I like it, because the whole point is, as the levels get further down, literally they've given the start of the idea, and then the guy will convince himself all the way through, and it'll get stronger and stronger as we get further to level 3. And during this time, while we're doing these little shots of the mark and stuff, and Eames is giving his speeches, we see Cobbs going under, he's on the drugs. And he's clearly wanting to dream again, so it's almost a slippery slope for him. Then we get a bit of an overview on the drugs. So with these drugs, the dream time it can give them is up to 10 years. So it increases the normal dream time almost by 3-fold. So on level 3, they've got 10 years of time, potentially. Which, they say this, and then everything seems to be really sort of a lot less time. And I know that's done for cinematic effect, but it's I thought we had 10 years. What the fuck's going on here?
I know. Yeah. I think that definitely comes into play later at the end of the movie for me. They were like, oh, we'll do one again, and we'll have plenty of time, and then everything's still very rushed.
Yeah. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna use the kick system, which we saw at the start, where Cobb went in the bath, to bring them all back out the levels. So it'll be one giant kick that they'll ride the wave of. And they demonstrate what a kick is, which is the idea of falling. If you're about to fall off your chair, you kind of jump to, your body kicks in. And then we've got a location. So where are we conducting this heist?
On a plane.
Do it on a plane. It's a 10-hour flight. Nobody shits or pisses themselves.
They're not all like you, Tom.
Well, that guy. So when they go in, and I'm jumping ahead, I guess. But when they go in, the guy's like, it's raining because he needs a piss.
Because he drank the booze before he went in. Yeah.
Yeah, he drank the booze, and it's like, oh, he needs a piss, and like he's pissed himself. He's got to have.
I mean, you don't see him very much after that, so maybe he did.
Maybe he did, yeah.
And also, the stewardess was in on it, thankfully, and she wouldn't have woken him up. She would have been like, "Off, he's pissed himself. Throw a blanket on him. It's fine."
So before we get to the heist, what does Adrienne do?
What does she do?
She invades
Design?
Cobb's. She invades Cobb's dreams.
Oh yes, she goes in on it. She dials into him to see what he's experiencing.
What did you think of Cobb's dreams?
I mean, it's character development. It's supposed to give you that bit of, backstory for Maul. Didn't really take a lot out of them, to be honest. I felt like already, like we said earlier, I felt like I kind of already knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like at this point in the movie, like I was just getting a little bit extra that to fill in the gaps, but I think this delving into the dreams didn't really add very much, to be honest. Didn't really add very much to the story.
No, and I think you're right. I think it was an insight into Cobb. Did we get the sort of information here that Maul had killed herself and that she'd threatened the kids, like threatened the solicitor that he was trying to kill her? Was that here?
I think it might have been. No, that might have been the one bit.
Because it's all
it's worth it.
Yeah, this whole bit's all breadcrumby, isn't it? It's very like little bit here and there, and
Yeah.
it's not till the end of the film we actually realise what's happened and
Yes.
how he's incepted someone before. The thing I've got a problem with here is, and I don't know if it's the same, but I'm going to do it here anyways. He's on the window ledge, she's on the window ledge, and she's starting to jump. She's in a hotel room opposite him. Why the fuck is that happened?
Yeah. Fucking right. She must have went out the window, shimmied around all the way around, and then sat on the other window.
Because the window was open, and so like it was quite intuitive to think, oh, you've climbed out that window. Unless it's like a fucking huge suite, which I'm sure the wall was closed off. Like I didn't see any other passageways.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're gonna kill yourself, like you want to be as far away from someone who can save you. But if some bloke came at you the window and went, "Yeah, I love what you're doing, get in."
But yeah, I picked up on that too. Like, I think obviously it's just a cinema of it, isn't it? Like, they needed to be facing each other for the drama.
Okay, so I've put here that Maul can be pretty scary, but she's a very meh character. She's almost an annoyance.
Yeah.
She just turns up and fucks shit up, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, you pack it in.
We don't have any big, like, fantasy villains.
There's no villain. No, I would say that Cobb's his own villain. Like, he clearly gets in his own way, which is fine. Character struggles and all that. Alright, then we go into the heist. So the heist begins. We get on the plane. Cobb drugs Cillian Murphy. Up to here, I've put... This is a really good build-up for the film. Like, I've been on board the whole time. I've not been clock watching. I'm in. I'm invested. I want to see the heist happen.
Yeah. Did they have to... I was wondering about this because in my head I was also a bit like, oh, like, he should be, like, hiding from him to not make it obvious, but then... Is that part of the kind of the idea of the dream because he was going to talk to him that he needed to sort of incept himself into his life a little bit so that when he dreamt about him, it wasn't that weird?
Yeah, that's
like,
what I saw. I was like,
yeah.
he's done it so that it's like when he wakes up, because they're going to be on the fucking plane together, he's going to wait and be like, oh, I just had a dream about that kid, how weird's that? Think I might sell my dad's company, yeah.
Yeah.
So the heist goes tits up. We see a train, which is, I assume, Maul, or it's probably not Maul, it's just Cobb's subconscious, because he's thinking about trains and how that train was used to sort of bring his wife out of limbo.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we find out that Fisher's mind has been trained to repel Inceptors.
There's a very lucrative market for these brain trainers, isn't there? in this world.
Yeah, so how do you get into that? Like, because does everyone know that dreams can be incepted? Because there's a bit where Cobb says it's not strictly legal. So is there laws against this in this world? Is there a law that says thou shalt not invade another man's dream? Like, and yeah, I guess there must be a business of like only dreams where we will protect you from dreams.
Yeah, but like, I mean, coming back to Maul being dead and basically framing a husband for it, like, that, as awful as that is, that's not that doesn't warrant like an international manhunt. I don't think, like, with all of the millions of dollars that they're spending in it and like all those things. So he's obviously like, I think he's like, is he like CIA wanted? Is that the other thing of it? Like, it's a taboo thing to do. Like, it's basically espionage, isn't it? It's dream espionage.
I don't know. It's never confirmed if he's used his like skills for government.
How
use.
come? And this is a question that I'd like you to answer if you can. How come she can just turn up wherever she fucking wants sometimes? Like, I don't like, if it's his dream, I get it. But it's none of it's his dream though, is it? Like, he's not the architect. He's not filling it in with the subconscious. So how come it's just always her rocking up and fucking shit up for him?
Because he is an architect. He's just no longer an architect. But I think because he's so broken that his brain's able to project into the actual the mind state, because everyone else is like clear headed and he's not. He's bringing this weight of guilt with him, so it allows it to have manifestation on the dream.
But what if you're like not a very strong-willed like person, dreamer, and they're like, oh, we need this person to fill in everything with their subconscious, and then you get there and it's just a big empty hotel, and the guy's like, wait, where is everybody? and then Maul just fucking rocks up round the corner like, shit. Like,
I think they explain that away though, don't they? Because they say like when you're asleep, your brain does like 200% of its normal power. So even if you're only thinking of one person, like when you're asleep, you're at least thinking of two. So,
but if they can have their own subconsciouses, then why don't they have their own little armies?
So you're about to touch upon the point I get really frustrated at, right? So I'll talk about this next bit, which is they find out that he's armed and they fucking start shooting, and then they've got guns, and then Saito gets shot, and I'm like, why the fuck are you guys not dreaming that you're in like Juggernaut clothing? Like, just fucking put some bulletproof vests on. What are we doing? Give yourself some better guns. Give yourself an armored car. Like, anything you want is at your disposal. You guys are the best dreamers on the fucking planet. What we're doing?
Yeah.
And that was where, for me, the film falls short, because why is no one flying? Why has no one got superpowers? Like, you can do what you want, and it's like, oh, this is just a normal heist.
When you think of dreams, like the cliche dreams are like flying, like powers, and like you don't see any of that, do you?
Even if someone had said, I can fly, I just can't remember how. Because that's a dream I've had so many fucking times. Of like, nah, I've got this superpower, but I just can't use it right now because I can't remember. Like, I've done it at the start of the dream, I can't do it again. If that had been it, mint. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff where, for me, the way the film falls short is it takes itself too seriously. Like, it could have had a lot of fun with this concept, and it doesn't. It has cinematography fun and special effects fun, but it doesn't have actual like dream fun.
No, it's too serious. Yeah, it hadn't even occurred to us until we've talked it through. But yeah, like those type, you're right. Like they're the architects. They've built this world. So like under every seat is a gun. Like under every seat is like a first aid kit. Like do something to help yourself out.
Put it this way, right? In the dream world of the start of the movie, you know, when we're in that that apartment with the riot outside.
Yeah.
Saito puts his hand under his pillow and pulls out a gun. Now, the architect, there's no fucking way that he put a gun there. So he's manifested that gun through dream because he's like, it's here, there's a gun here. So they can do it.
Yeah.
And I go back to the Matrix as well. Like, this scene would have been so fucking cool if it was like that scene in the Matrix where he goes, what do you need? And he goes, guns. Lots of guns. Okay. So then Saito's shot. He's shot in the chest. Survives an awful long time for being shot in the chest.
Does.
And Tom Hardy comes over, fucking puts a gun to his head, and then Leo's like, whoa, pack it in. We die here. We die for, like, we'll go, like, to level 4. And you don't want to go to level 4 because you'll be there for ages. Like, it's fucking decades. Don't know how long you'll be there for.
Right. So what? Yeah. Why does that become a thing? Like, at what point is it like? Because this is what confused me, right? So for me, they were saying like, if you die, you won't wake up because you're too sedated, so you'll just be like a mindless zombie forever, essentially. And when you actually do wake up, your brain will be that fried that you'll just be like brain dead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but well, I suppose we'll get onto it. But like the way he was describing it, I was just thinking like you'd be floating in blackness and nothingness.
It's less about like the dimensions of the space and more about how much time you'll be there for. So you can go to the pits, and that is raw subconsciousness where you can create, and you're more likely to lose track of reality because like level 1's more of a light sleep, and then the deeper you go, the deeper the sleep. So you're more likely to have RPM, which is like dreaming.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, that you will be down there for so long that you will basically live a life and you'll remember it all as well.
Okay. I think I'll come back to this question.
Okay. But on top of all of that, they've still got the kick, which is supposedly still strong enough to pull them out. But the kick's got to be symptom. This is where it gets a bit weird. It gets a bit like...
yeah.
Kind of, they explain it so much that it doesn't make sense.
Because it was like, there's nobody kicking them out on the plane.
No, exactly. Like, I think the pilot must do like a fucking barrel roll or something. Like,
yeah.
It's bizarre.
Oh, we're gonna hit some turbulence, guys. So now we've got the drama. We've got the risk because they can die now in a way.
So then we've got the bit where for some reason we get Maul's backstory during this like bit where they're getting surrounded. So again, we'll come back to Maul. So he talks about limbo because obviously we've just had it explained that there's another level below 3, which is 4. And in here, Cobb and Maul were there for equivalent of 50 years of dream time. We see the totem, which is Maul's. It's not his. And that totem can't be trusted. Never has been.
Why can't it be trusted?
Because it's not his.
Ah.
Because we see it's Maul's. It's not his.
Yeah.
So we find out that Maul lost track of reality and that she killed herself and framed Cobb. So she wasn't, like you with this film, she wasn't sure what was real and what wasn't. She'd almost turned against herself. But we don't know at this point, she's been accepted. Alright, so then they say that Saito, although he's been shot, will be fine, or he'll be less injured in level 2.
Yeah. Less injured. He'll still hurt, but he'll be able to cope a bit better.
So before they go down to level 2, they do a bit of an interrogation on Fisher, so Cillian Murphy. They ask him for a number to the safe in his dad's hospital room. Does another number. He says, give us the first 6 digits that come to your head. You know what digits are?
Oh, something like 518412 or something like that.
There it is. I think you've got them, but in the wrong order. It's 528491.
Oh, there we go. Close enough.
Yeah. So they say, nope, that's not good enough. They put him in the back of a van and they drive off, put him to sleep. They all go to sleep. They go to level 2. Level 2. So level 2 is where the real heist kind of takes place. So they regroup and they do real heist. So then level 2, we decide to do a con called Mr. Charles. What's Mr. Charles? Talk us through Mr. Charles.
Mr. Charles is Cobb pretending to be a subconscious of Fisher, helping him realise that he's being dream invaded. It's a double bluff.
It's a double bluff. And it's the idea of turning Fisher against his own subconscious. So now Fisher thinks that every subconscious projection that's actually coming after Cobb is coming after him. It's quite clear. Again, I like it. I like the con. So then we see the number 528491 pop up. So it pops up on the napkin, which Tom Hardy gives to Cillian Murphy with the phone number.
Yep.
It pops up as the hotel rooms, so the one below and one above.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's all like it shows you his subconscious being fed with the information from level 1. Browning is also now feeding him information based on Eames in the previous level. So yeah, it's well put together. Like as a heist, there's very few holes in it, other than why aren't people dreaming up fucking like dragons and shit? You know what I mean?
See, I thought as well I might have to go back and check, but I thought that they had the fake, like they had him pretending to be, his dad's assistant. Yeah, Browning. But then I thought they also had the real Browning. They did, didn't they? Or is that not in the car?
No. So in the car, it's in level 1. It's Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Then in level 2, it's a projection of Browning, but it's based on Tom Hardy because that's what his subconscious is now being fed.
Yeah,
So,
I thought they had the real Browning in the car as well. I thought they'd switched it.
No,
I thought,
it wasn't involved. It's just Cillian Murphy.
Okay,
so
cool.
the Browning in the car is Tom Hardy.
The whole time?
The whole time, yeah. So when he comes out at the end of the car, there's a scene where they're sitting, like, and Cillian Murphy's talking to Browning, but then the camera pulls round and it's actually Tom Hardy.
That's it. Yeah, no, I remember that bit. I was just thinking that they'd left the real Browning to die, like drown in the car.
No, he comes out. Yeah. He comes out. Yeah, imagine. So I don't have much on level 2 other than, so the kick from level 1 is the van going off into the river. The kick from level 2 is going to be exploding the room above to drop them. Mm. Why did they go to level 3? Did they just continue with the plan?
Go to level 3 because the what's the plan called, Mr. What?
Mr. Charles.
Mr. Charles. So Mr. Charles says, "Oh, he's got a plan. Like he's trying to do something to you. What we need to do is go into his head, and we'll work out what it is through his head."
Right.
That's what he says to Fisher.
They're going into Fisher's head, not Brown's.
He's going into his own consciousness, isn't he? Like,
and you don't feel sorry for him. I feel like this man's been so conned.
Yeah, no, but you know what's funny though? He just kind of goes, "Yeah, let's do that," and I'm like,
exactly.
Wait a second, guys. Like, what's going on here? But yeah, he's all in. He's being fully convinced
because they've convinced him that his subconscious is like, this guy's a bad guy. He's like, yeah, I'm on board, guys. Thanks, subconscious.
Thanks for helping me. Like, you know what it is? My dad just died. Like, I've got all this pressure at work. Like, it's nice to have friends. Like, thanks, guys.
When he wakes up from this dream as well, he's like, fucking hell. Like, I need to go and see a psychiatrist. I'm fucked in the head. That dream I've just had was ridiculous. And I've slept for 10 hours. What the fuck is going on?
I wouldn't know. I wanted to watch a movie on that flight. Fuck.
I had so many
I was going to watch Shutter Island.
I've missed so many interviews I was going to conduct on that flight because now I'm the head of a company. Fuck.
Yeah.
So level 3 is the hospital. What did you think of the hospital?
Is this the skiing place?
Yes.
I mean, why is it? It's a hospital, but it's barely a hospital, isn't it? It's more like a fucking James Bond villain hideout.
Wow, what the fuck? Right. I've wrote weird hospital. Right? So I was like, why the fuck are we doing this? So I went deep diving. This hospital is based on the James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because that is Christopher Nolan's favourite James Bond film.
There you go.
There you go. You fucking knew this? You clearly did a bang-up job because you pulled that out of thin air.
Yep. Christopher Nolan obviously got in my head and incepted that fucking idea in there, didn't he?
I'm going to make a film. I'm going to make a film starring Roger Moore. James Bond.
I thought as well, like, Fisher's all in at this point. He's like, yeah, let's incept my fucking dad's fucking number one security guy. Let's go for it. Like, they're all in. And then you're right, the for lack of a better word, the spawn in on top of the hill.
Yeah.
Right? Like, looking down at it, exactly like a fucking James Bond. And they're all geared up with skis and guns and that. And I don't know about you, but Fisher's just standing there sort of like watching them all talk, and they're like, oh, I designed this place, and like, yeah, like, and I'm gonna do this thing and that thing, and he's just standing there like, okay, cool.
Man, my subconscious is all over this plan.
Yeah. At what point? Was he like, wait a second? What do you mean you designed it? Like, what's going on? Like, what is happening?
I can't wait to rob this guy. Like,
Yeah.
hold on, guys. What?
Yeah. Fish is such a dumbass. What? What's up, guys?
We're your subconscious.
Yeah. I thought it was really weird. I thought Cillian Murphy's character was very accepting.
He was quite
the
naive,
third
wasn't
level. Yeah. But I suppose, like, you're in a dream, like, you know, you don't know what it's like. But the way the movie's filmed and presented to you, it's like you're you're not like in a dream state. You're not like delirious. Like, you're fully conscious, fully aware. It's just you're willing to accept more bullshit, I suppose, because you're in a dream.
Yeah, and I think that line is said that, like, when something's out of place, you don't question it because it's a dream. So I think that they do try and throw elements in to give us a perspective from a dreamer. Alright, so then we start then jumping between levels because we're preparing kicks in other levels. And the van is being chased all this time. So Yusuf does some shit driving, but does some driving nonetheless. Then the van tips. Then in level 2, that causes gravity to become, like, not a thing. Like, it becomes, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
So then there's a fight scene down the hall. So did you know that they created a hall and rotated that? That's a practical hall they made, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt did his own stunts.
I did know that.
Pretty fucking cool.
It's fucking cinema, isn't it? That is like bravo, because that's so iconic as well. I think even now, like, the movie's like, 15-year-old now, feels like a lifetime ago when you say it that way. But like, even now, it's like still like that looks fucking class.
It looks incredible, and it's because it's practical though. There's no CGI; it's all done properly. I had to pause it here because I need a wee, and I know there's 40 minutes left of the film, and I was like, ooh, feels like we're wrapping up, but clearly we've still got a whole other segment of film to go.
Yeah.
I thought up to this point the film had a really good pace. I thought, like, these levels, we're swimming through them, we're absolutely balling. I'm enjoying it, I'm on board. So then there's the kick. So the kick is him driving into the barrier. I thought the kick was him driving into the water.
Well, I think, wasn't that the plan to have two? So they had one.
Yeah, a backup plan.
And then it's a backup, yeah. Because they had to synchronize the kicks, didn't they? Like, brings a whole other question, because how do you synchronize when you're fucking 10 hours behind?
Well, like, what's happening? Music, wasn't it?
Like,
so they put the headphones on, the music, like, tells them the kick's coming.
Yeah, but the music is, like, instant. It's all, like, it all appears, at least anyway in the movie, is, like, synchronized.
Yeah, because you can hear the music, because it doesn't matter when the time, like, if you're 10 hours behind or what, like, you put headphones on someone, like, it'll feed through.
Yeah, but if it's 10 hours worth of time in 2 minutes...
Yeah, but the music isn't...
That song's not...
Well, the music isn't synced, because the music's in real time.
But then that should take you out of the 10 hours?
No.
No, because if you're in a world where 10 hours is passing in 2 minutes...
Yep.
Because, but you listen to a song that's 2 minutes long...
But you're actually not down there you're not down there for 10 hours, you just perceive it as 10 hours.
Yeah, but your perception of time is ruined by the song that's only 2 minutes long. Because the song isn't 10 hours fucking long now.
No, the song is 2 minutes long, but it's 2 minutes in level 2, which will then come down as 2 minutes in level 3.
Yeah.
Because you are hearing it in real time, but your dream state is still perceiving the other time as 10 hours.
But you can all listen to the same song for the same amount of time. Can't you?
So if you put the song on...
Yeah.
If you put the song on in level 3, like, actually didn't put it on the headphones, played it in the dream, that song would last 2 minutes of the 10 hours. However, if you put the headphones on level 2, in level 3, the song would play through in your actual ears, which would play in real time.
Right.
So that's why the song doesn't last 10 hours. It lasts 2 minutes all the way through. That's why they put if they put the headphones on, like, on the plane, let's say, then that wouldn't transfer. That's why it doesn't breach 2 levels.
It does breach 2 levels, though?
It doesn't?
Because they hear it in the hotel and then they hear it in the skiing?
Yeah, so they hear it in the hotel because because on level 1 in the van he puts headphones on all of them.
Oh, right.
And level 2, fucking thingy puts headphones on all of them.
Yeah. I think I've disconnected because it's the same song, but it has to be the same song.
It has to be the same song, yeah. Like, if they started putting, like, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, I'd be like, fuck
Cha-Cha
hell,
Slide.
what is going on?
You have to remember the song. Fucking what level is the song again? Shit.
And then, because the van's gone off the railing, it's now 0G in level 2. Again, good practical effects. Arthur has to come up with a way to break gravity, which I guess he does with the elevator, which is, again, quite a fine way to resolve that problem.
I wouldn't have been able to think of that.
Nah, I would have been like jumping out the building and pulling them, like trying to make them think they were fucking going somewhere.
Trying to run really fast down the corridor. Come on, guys. I think, to be honest, like, apart from the where the whole Earth flattens on itself, like, that's, for me, that's one of the most standout scenes in the whole movie. Like, it's the money shot, isn't it?
So we never talked about the Earth flattening scene. What did you think of that scene?
I thought it was good. Like, I thought it's iconic in terms of the poster, and like that was the selling point. I think, like,
yeah,
it's very short. Like, it's a couple
is.
of seconds, couple of minutes at the most, isn't it? Like, there's nothing to it.
What did you think of the bit where they walk and then meet the end and then join the road again to go up?
I thought it looked shit.
It looked proper shit, doesn't it?
It really shit.
Up.
They couldn't they couldn't do it quite right, could they? So fucked up there.
Nah. Alright, so we then find out there's a shortcut in the maze, and Saito's like hanging on by a thread, even though like this is like 10 years down here, so it should be the equivalent of having a cough at this point. He's like on death's door, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, what happened to this time rule of like we're so far in the future?
Yeah, this is where it's starting to get unravelly a bit.
Yeah, the times didn't match. I don't think. I think what was originally sold to us wasn't actually followed through on.
Yeah, I thought that they'd maybe set the bar too high with the whole like 10 years and stuff, like, because it was hard to disconnect from it, especially when you think of like the car falling and you're like, right, like that's, and then they're saying he's got 3 minutes and we've got an hour. I'm like, right, like, I thought you were talking about 10 years a second ago.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's there is a disconnect there. So then Cillian Murphy gets shot by Maul. He dies.
He dies.
He goes to level 4. You know what would have saved him?
And literally anything they could have imagined.
The bulletproof vest.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they were just like, oh, just defib him and bring him back. I'm like, pretty sure that's not how defibs work.
So it's because he's not dead, is he? He's like, he's imaginarily dead, which sends him to level 4. And the idea is that they're going to kick him out of level 4 back to level 3. But then he's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is it like the Matrix? You know, when Neo just fucking gets up and it's like, we're good. Move on.
My question here, right, is Killian gets shot, he's level 3 dead in level 4.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he says, oh, I need to go in and find Maul because she'll have him.
Yeah.
Right, I'm like, hold a second. Whoa. Is this just is it a shared fucking place now where that's always there and Maul's always there? And in all the other levels?
Pretty much, yeah, because of Cobb's subconscious being so powerful, like Maul can just turn up. So his version of Maul, like, I think he's lost some of his grip on reality as well, because his version of Maul is like always the same version that's saying, come to level 4, stay here with us, be here with us, because that's all Maul wanted. She only wanted like him to be in what was their home, basically. So his version of her is always coming out and always trying to get Cobb to come down to that level and be with her, because that's what he thinks she wants.
But it's just interesting that like Killian's Killian's had most of the power, even though he hasn't designed the levels. Like it's been his subconscious controlling everything, like in terms of like the projections and all of that. And then you get to level 4 and he's got fucking nothing. He's
been captured, but is that because though he doesn't realise that he's dreaming at that point? because he's gone down to level 4. Like, if he's been down there for so long, we don't know how long he's been there.
Yeah. Well, it's fucking even that 10-minute conversation. If it's 10 years down there or 50 years, like
Yeah,
it's hard
exactly.
to do the maths. I can't do the maths off the top of my head, but like long time.
And that's the problem. Like, I think this throws maths at the wall, which is to confuse more than solve. And I think they just throw numbers, and the numbers don't add. Level 4, fucking Act 3, nearly there.
How come level 4 is only Leo's world? Nobody's got any other input.
Because it's raw subconsciousness, so he's. I assume he's got a really powerful subconscious because he's learned to control it. So it's always like gonna be his world. Like before he got there, I don't think that Maul had him. Like, I think that Cillian was wandering around, and then because he got when Cobb got there, he like had in his head that Maul's got him, like Maul's fucking trapped him. That like manifested itself.
Okay, Killian could have had like a week of like, this is mid this.
Yeah, exactly. You could have been like, I'm running this company. My dad loves it. He's all right. And then
I've made sandcastles. Like, everything's fine. Like, and then next thing you know is this fucking whole city around him.
Yeah,
and this crazy chicks kidnapped him.
Aye. That's the way I read it, and it's the only logic I can think of it. That, or there's no fucking reason. It's just a fucking bullshit movie.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because like, yeah, just coming back to the whole point of canon, which is like, none of this is like explicitly said.
No.
Like, you know, and I'm sure there's other things we could go into and read, and like, feel free to kind of pop in the comments if you've got anything to clarify on it. But like, just to sit down and enjoy and watch a movie and get through it, like. But I think it's in a good way. It kind of gives a bit of rewatchability as well, to be like, you know, you can watch this a couple of times and be like, and try and get different perspectives each time.
No, and I think for Nolan, you know, he is good at that. I think there's like, again, I think his weakest films for me are films based on something where there's source material, because he's got to follow like a strict ruling. Whereas with Inception, with The Prestige, with Memento, like, I always find that them films have a lot of subject in them that you can pick up on rewatches. Like, there's times that I can't remember what it was about this film this time, but something I caught that I hadn't seen before. I was like, oh, like, fucking, that explains it a bit more. And I've always picked up a bit more of the lore from this film when I've watched it more and more.
Yeah.
Then we finally get the Inception reveal, which is that Maul put her totem, which is now Cobb's totem, in the safe and locked it away so that she would forget what the real world is. So then Cobb goes looking for it. He finds it in the safe, and then he spins the totem and shuts the safe. Which does what? It
incepts the idea of, this isn't reality. This isn't real life.
Yep. So then, to get out of that reality, they kill themselves. They're killing themselves is back on the cards to go up a level. So they get in front of a train, and that's where the train comes from. That was how Cobb got them out. But because he incepted out that idea, it takes flight in the real world, and she starts to doubt what reality is.
Yeah.
And then with that, she kills herself.
Yes.
Cobb explains all this, and actually, he comes to terms with the idea that his projection of her isn't a patch on his wife, and it's actually quite sweet the way he does it. He says, look, I couldn't make an imitation of her that is real. It's just not possible. You're a pale imitation of her. So then he tells Elliot Page to get Cillian, jump off the balcony, basically get out of there. He's going to go look for Saito because Saito will be dead, and he needs Saito to honour the agreement of bringing him back. And it's all about that. It's all about getting back to his kids.
Yeah, he somehow knows, though, that Saito's, like, obviously, I mean, Saito was fucked, but he's like, oh, Saito will be dead by now. For all he knows, Saito's like, I'm okay, I feel much better.
Yeah, let's do the kick, guys, get me out of here. So we get the kick from level 4, which is jumping off the building. So it's Elliot Page and Cillian. She fucking throws him off there, by the way. She absolutely launches off. So then we see Cillian Murphy go in the vault. And inside the vault, he sees his dad. And then he gets the incepted lie of... he says, I know you were disappointed that I wasn't you. And then the dad says, no, I was disappointed that you tried to be. And then he almost gets this catharsis thing of, I'm going to build my own fucking thing. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yep.
This is the bit I didn't know, sorry. This is the bit I picked up for the first time. So he goes in the vault and there's some papers, but then he brings out the fan. And I didn't realise the fan was in the fucking photo.
How could you not realise that?
I never picked that up. I think like by this point in the film I was a bit checked out.
There's a lot to take in, like, so it's understandable, I suppose, that you do miss a couple of things, but like, yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, so it's a nice touch of saying like, oh, the dad did care about you. Like it's a good Inception, and like you see Tom Hardy, he's almost quite proud of like what's happened, which is nice. Good for him.
Well, he incepted not incepted, but he had the photo in his wallet in the level 1.
Yeah, he did.
So like that's a subconscious thing that like was important to him. But he saw that in the quote unquote real world earlier, didn't he, when he was speaking to his dad?
And the code to get into the vault was the one that has been like throughout as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then the plan worked ultimately, and the kick gets all of them out apart from Cobb and Saito. And then we cut back to Cobb, who is at the start of the film again.
Yes.
And then it's affirmed to us that Saito is the man in the start of the film. He remembers Cobb, so you must hang on to it. Hang on to that memory. He doesn't want to be an old man that dies with regret.
What's your interpretation at this stage? Because we've still got the climax to go, but he's old, yeah?
And Cobb's not.
And Cobb's not.
So Cobb looks fucked, right? His eyes look absolutely like battered. Like I think there is an element of age that they've tried to add on, but they didn't want to add on loads. Because he does look a bit like, yeah, disheveled. He looks fucked.
Definitely doesn't look as haggard and old as Saito.
No, he does not. You're right.
You know, it is like, you know, it's hard to differentiate, but like he has, because he's been fucking getting shot at in the city, and then getting punched up in and attacked in the hotel rooms, and then getting shot at in the skis, and then he's getting punched and he's stabbed in level 4. Like for me, like there was no. It was almost like a direct continuation. Like there was time had passed for Saito, but it didn't seem like any time at all had passed for him.
Maybe, yeah. I just took it that he'd got there pretty sharpish. But in terms of time pass, I don't think it's ever explained, or they just couldn't be asked to put Leo in fucking thingy, because he seemed out of it as well. Like he seemed like he'd forgotten almost why he was there.
Yeah.
But overall, Saito remembers, and they come back. And when Leo awakens, he's almost like, "Where the fuck am I? Like, what's going on?" It's almost like he's got to get his bearings a little, and Saito's the same. But Saito makes his phone call. I put if I'd woken up and I was Cobb, I'd have been like Robin Williams in fucking Jumanji. I'd have been like, "What year is it? Like, what the fuck's going on?
What year is it?
What year is it?" Yeah, exactly. Then I put, "Did anyone shit or piss themselves after 10 hours of flight?"
Did you not find it a bit? Everything was quite cringy when they woke up on the plane, because it was just smiles.
Well, this comes back to the climax, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was almost dreamlike. Everyone was happy. Everyone was fine. Like, no issues. Everything had gone according to plan. He got through security fine. When they were walking through, they were almost like bumping into each other. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Then, who fucking turns up to pick him up?
Michael Caine.
Why is he not in Paris?
Mm.
He's in Los Angeles all of a sudden. Like, what's happened there? Because this job takes place pretty quickly. Like, is he just asked for fucking leave? And he's like, "I'll meet you in LA." He doesn't know that he's going to be there. And then the kids haven't aged.
Kids haven't aged.
At all.
Well, if you go off IMDb, apparently they have. Because I think there's two castings of the kids, and one of them's a 3-year-old and one of them's a 5-year-old. But you're right. They don't look like they've aged. There's certainly nothing to indicate that on screen.
Yeah, okay. Well, they have aged then. I stand corrected.
Yeah, but you don't really see that, though, do you? That's the point, though. Like,
no, unless obviously reading on there, it's fair. But and you see their faces?
Do you see the faces?
And then what does Cobb do to end the movie?
Well, hug the kids, basically. But prior to that, he'd span his totem on the table, hadn't he?
Yeah. Do you think the totem was gonna fall?
No, no.
You think he's in a dream?
I thought he was in a dream before this. Like, yeah. I mean, it's got the it ends like. Let's not be funny here. It's the fucking perfect ending. Like, it's
Yeah.
absolutely
Really
like it's
good
exactly
stellar.
what we needed. Like, we needed this ending. Like, no doubt. Like, I love a good ending like this. I also don't. I also like usually like an ending that isn't happy. And if we are if we are reading it of like we don't get an because we don't get an answer, we're more leaning towards not real, not really a happy ending. Like, there's still like he's stuck, like he's fucked.
Yeah.
As much as it's like he's with his kids in his dream world, like he's still and he's still stuck in a non-reality, like in a way. But
Yeah.
maybe he is out. You know, you could argue both ways.
I like the ending as well, and I think if they'd given an answer either way, I think it would have rubbed people the wrong way. I think a film like this, because it's so full of interpretation, it's better for you as an audience member to make your own ending.
I, I think this is as well. Like, this is going to make me sound so fucking old. It's naively clever in a way as well, because that's the kind of thing that some generations are going to be like googling, and like that generates that just talking like, oh, what's the answer? Like, was it a dream or not? You'll have fans out there thinking one way and fans thinking something totally different. But even that, having that non-answer is brilliant, because it gets your audience engaging in the movie even after it's done. You don't just finish the movie being like, wow, what a great movie. It's like, what do you think of the movie? What do you think of the movie?
100%. No, I 100% agree with you. I think it is very much a film that. Would I put it 14th on the top 250 films? Probably not, but that's based on my opinion. But do I think there's a film that you should see? 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I think everyone should see this at least once, and if not twice. So my overall thoughts are: it's a good heist. I like the heist. It's a good heist. It goes tits up. I like a heist that goes wrong, but I like a heist that also comes good in the end, potentially. Good crew. I like the crew. Feel the villain was a bit meh and lacking of a villain. Some good acting. Some was okay. It was passable. Audio was rough. I
Yeah.
feel like there was a lot of issues with the mixing, and like I said, if I hadn't had the subtitles as an option, like I'd have been fucked. Third act was the weakest. I felt like the third act probably, whilst necessary, just seemed to drag the film back a little with the pace. And that was all the stuff in the Twilight Zone of the fourth level. And I like the overall idea. I like the dream thing. Because I think dreams are something that everyone thinks about. So it's something that anyone can talk about and have an idea about. So yeah, what are your overall thoughts?
I think we're almost in alignment here, Tom. We're syncing up our consciousnesses quite well. Yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed. So when I think about a film, sometimes I think about a list of good things and a list of bad things, and I weigh it up that way. And all the things you've listed off there, I think are really good, and the list of bad things, I think, is quite small. Like, there's nothing that really detracts from it, and some of those important bits for me that what I like, about the attention to detail on things. That this has got it in absolute droves. Even with the character's name spelling out dream, I think that's a nice little thing as well. So I quite highly rate this one. We're going to talk about ranking.
So what are you ranking it? What's your rating?
I'm I'm going to go straight in, and I'm going to say, because of the rewatchability, I'm going to put it at an A.
Well, I guess that's the end of that discussion because I've also got a solid A.
They're cool.
So we're
What?
both in agreement.
Well, before we just neatly tie that off, though, one quick question for you. What stopped this being S?
I think just the audio was one of the killers for me because it's such a not a simple job, definitely not a fucking simple job, but someone had to proof that and go, yeah, I can hear that fine. Like, no, you fucking couldn't. Like, someone's done a shit job there, and someone needs to fucking, like, not pay for it. No one needs to have their legs broken. But, you know, someone needs to answer for that. And I think, like I said, Nolan gets criticized for these kinds of things in other movies as well. I think Oppenheimer was of a similar ilk, and I think Tenet. Fuck me, we're not even talking about Tenet. Tenet was also a similar thing where the audio was absolutely fucked. So I think it's clearly something that was on the radar and hadn't been addressed. So yeah, that's what brought it down.
Fair, fair.
What about you? What brought it down?
I'm not quite sure. I feel like when I watch a movie and I feel like it's an S rank, I'll know. And there was a little bit of something holding us back from it on this one. I do agree with him.
So going off the cuff then, because we're never going to look at this franchise, I don't think. We might. I don't know. Going off the cuff, would you say that Alien or Aliens is an S?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I try and think of a rating as soon as I finish the movie, when it's fresh in my mind. And then obviously we talk about it on the podcast, and I think that's really good because we've convinced each other to change ratings, and I think that's a really good thing to do. Because it's all opinion. This is all just opinion, and this is all our interpretation of it. You know, we're not sitting here saying this is the right rating. We're not IMDb saying it's the 14th best movie of all time. But I think it's best to have, like, when you finish a movie, like, if I sit there and the credits start rolling, and I'm like, fuck me, that was unbelievable. Like, that's what I want when I want to S rank, and I did think that was a great movie. Like, but would I sit there and be like, that is like worthy of an S tier, top 10, 250 movies of all time? No, like, there's still something that's not quite right with it for me. But like, in terms of rewatchability,
it's 100%
like,
there, yeah.
Really good, really top notch job, Chris. Well done.
Well done, Chris. Right, so everyone at home, we will do now what's next segment. So we're going to determine on the podcast what is our next franchise for us to then explore and complete. So what I'm going to do is give it some spins. Phil, you can tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. And I'm going to spin. Here we go.
So close.
It's the Riddick movies.
And it was only two. It was only two away from the Batman movies that we talked about on this episode as well.
The 90s Batman movies. So what this means is we will be watching the Riddick movies. Have you seen the Riddick movies before, Phil?
I have. I feel like quite recently watched the first in the franchise because it's free, right?
So have you seen them all? Have you seen all three?
I don't think I've seen the third one.
Right, so third one is the first one again, kind of thing. Not that I set the expectations, but the second one for me is like, it's one of my favorite films.
I know you like the second one. You like the Chronicles.
I love the second one. So it's so comic booky, and the scene where they run across the planet because they're being chased by the sun. Oh, fucking gorgeous. Yeah, I'm all about this. I'm ready for some good action movies, and I think it's a bit different than what we've been doing. So what we've done so far, we've done Indiana Jones, we've done 28 Days, so now we're doing something a bit sci-fi. So it's a bit nice, bit different. So with that and a wrap on Inception, we will bring this episode of Canon Fodder Podcast to a close. So thank you everyone for listening. If you have liked any of this, even if it's just a small fraction of it, why don't you leave a like? Or if you think, yeah, these guys are kind of funny, would love to hear that on a comment or on an email. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that right now. So we have a YouTube, which you may be listening to right now. It's at Canon Fodder Podcast. We also have Phill, our expert TikTok-y, at Canon Fodder Podcast over on the TikToks. We also have a Reddit, which is r/the Canon Fodder Podcast. And if you want to be old school, send us some email. Send it to the Canon Fodder P. That's the Canon Fodder with the letter P at gmail.com. But yeah, that's another exciting week with Canon Fodder Podcast, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Bye now.
Bye.